Well, I was slow on the cue that time. Hey, everybody, it's Battle Rankings Live Thanksgiving Day special. Anyway, so what we're going to do is just wait for a couple more people to join us. Hey, hope everyone's doing well. So far, we got one viewer. Yeah. Anyway, maybe we should play the intro song longer.
Okay, want to play longer again?
Yeah, play it longer again. Hold on. We'll do a redo. Yeah, I'll take a look. Only two. We'll wait a little longer. I see three. Oh, their number's going up now. Numbers going up now.
It's like Romper Room where I see Tommy and Patrick and
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, you know what? I think they're coming to the sound of the drums. Yeah. Hey, the number one update. I think we could start. You can bring it down.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. We'll do this again. Hello, everyone. I am Joe Lewis, Battle Rankings Live. Here with our Thanksgiving Day special. I am being accompanied by my lovely and talented producer. Say hi, Ann.
Hi, Ann.
Yep. We're well, anyway, I think it's one of those things. Being a Thanksgiving Day special, we probably should be thankful for things. So I know what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for my family and the ability to do things like this. This is an enjoyment. Reaching out to all of you and everything. So I'm thankful for all 9 or 10 of you that watch live, and then believe it or not, a couple hundred people watch later on. So it's kind of interesting. Trying to be an interactive show, but people watch us in in the reruns. How about you, Ann? What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for my husband and my son.
Oh, okay.
And my cat. And my cat.
And your cat?
And my cat.
Hey, Ray, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for my dad, my mom, my cat, and my computer.
And your computer. Yeah.
I don't know if they could pick him up.
You know, do you know anyone else that wants to say that they're thankful for anything? Thankful for anything?
I am thankful for something.
Oh, it's Panzer Ghost.
Panzer Ghost wants to say, I am thankful. Well, I don't know if I want to say what I'm thankful for.
No. So, you're here. Say something you're thankful for.
You're gonna laugh at me.
I promise not to laugh. I promise not to laugh.
Okay. I'm thankful for Celine Dion.
Celine Dion.
Celine Dion.
Okay. you
especially like her songs.
you
And like my heart will go on. It just like really, it just speaks to me.
it speaks to you, really. I mean, how so?
Near, far, wherever you are. It just, I love it.
Do you envision yourself?
Believes that my heart will go on.
Okay, I guess that Canadian does transcend, time, space, and
She's amazing.
okay. Oh, the pride of Canada. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want Jack to draw you like the other girls?
Go away. Go away.
Okay. So anyway, so yes, Celine Dion. Can't get better than that. Okay. Yeah, that's about right. Well, let's take care of some housekeeping. And first of all, the points for the season have been announced. So they've been up there for a couple weeks now. I just kind of want to bring them up. Late war, mid war, and Team Yankees. So 105, 95, 105. It's up on the Battlefront site. So there you go. I like to remind people, remember, this is what the North America national tournaments are going to be set at. It doesn't mean that everyone has to run this. If you're running your own tournament, you can run it at any point level you want. But this is what they set for the nationals, though it does kind of set the tone for everything else. So it's an interesting place for points. 105, 95, 105. So there's that. I think maybe a little bit later we'll probably, and not this show, but another one, talk about the significance of the points. Let me whoop. I just want to do me. Hold on, I got some people. Oh, some other housekeeping to talk about. That is the Toys for Tots. So we're kind of heading towards the end of, there's a couple weeks left for Toys for Tots. I'm hoping that you guys are running something there. Remember,
How do you guys do with toys for Masters?
Masters? We actually did really well. What happened? Put myself back here. So what happened is a bunch of people that were coming to Masters, for one reason or another, their state was going to do some restrictions where they couldn't run their Toys for Tots. So we made a quick decision, or I made an executive decision to say, hey, by the way, we'll do a toy drive for the master players. And so everyone brought toys, and we actually did really good. We filled up one of those the nice boxes that they had. Brian Coaches took a picture. All of the when I'm going to do a Toys for Tots recap. I'll get that picture from him to show that what the booty that we brought in for Toys for Tots. That was good. Since I had did that last minute, Patrick, yes, it was like the whose line was it anyway, and the points just don't matter. We just brought in the toys for the Toys for Tots, and so that those guys could get their donations in. Since I had to do that, and I did not have time to go out, so you know what I did, Ann? I went and bought online and had the stuff shipped to me. And so I had a great idea. I'm like, oh, hey, look, Connects. Boom. Who doesn't love Connects, right? And then I'm like, wow, look at this deal on Play-Doh. It was like every type of color Play-Doh set. I'm like, oh, that rocks. So I clicked that. Boom, right? I said, ship that bad boy to me. Well, the Play-Doh, first of all, because it was like a set like that you would sell to a school, was in like just in a regular brown cardboard,
Oh, really?
and it said outside Play-Doh, do not break, or do not sell into individual sets or something like that. I'm like, oh, that sucks. But the thing weighed a ton. Could you imagine? It was like this much of Play-Doh, and it weighed a ton, and it crushed the Connects box.
Oh no.
I'm like, oh no. So I'm like trying to straighten it out. I'm like, I want Johnny to have a nice Christmas. I'm like, oh, this sucks. Anyway, well, it was the intent. God. It's not like you can run out to Toys R Us. Oh yeah, where's Toys R Us? They got crushed. Anyway, so I'll go out and not get 50 pounds of Play-Doh to be shipped out. Anyhow, so but back to this. So we got the event. So it began earlier late last month. The idea is to play your event by the weekend of the 5th, and submit the list of players by the 8th to Battlefront. You could do that. You have two things. You could do that through me. I'm more than happy to do it. Or your store should really be the first go to send the list in. Make sure they send it to their salesman, so that, and then what they'll do is they'll take all the names, they print them out, cut them up, and put them in a hat or a jar. And make sure you take a picture of the toys and send them in, because that's how they evaluate how well the stores did. Because the stores can get a prize also, a little something for running it. Submit if you run a tournament, submit those to me. That'd be great, and we'll get those posted up. And the prizes will be drawn on the 9th. Now, let me talk before to be eligible for a prize. The entry fee should be at least one toy of $15 or more. It needs to be unwrapped. We don't write this there. Unwrapped, and it cannot be a weapon. For some reason, the Marines don't like to hand out toy guns to anybody for some strange reason. What ends up happening, and I know this is good. This is a pretty solid. What happens is if you do send in like a Nerf gun or something like that, the Marine reserves that are doing this will take the gun out, and then eventually they'll have enough. They'll play a little mock war while they're doing the toys, because they're Marines. So anyway, so they'll start shooting each other with Nerf guns. So if you want to make Marine happy, go ahead and throw a Nerf gun in there. But otherwise, it's not going to get to the kids. But anyway, so you donate the toy, you're in. Now, I like to say the idea is to get the most toys possible, and then we give a little something for it. This year, I am running an Ironman tournament, and the Ironman tournament is that if you lose pieces, they don't come back the next round. Though I do have it, you always will have 60% on the table. But the 40, you can lose up to 40%. But yeah, I know what you're thinking, Ann.
What am I thinking?
You're thinking, well, how do I get my 40% back if I lose it all?
Yeah, how do you get your 40% back if you lose it all?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Ann. Because what we're going to do is you donate an extra toy. You get, in this one, I'm doing 15 points for every toy, and you can bank those up and use them. If you look up under, I think Able Company, I posted under Able Company on Facebook. You could see it there. Also on the Battle Flames of War forum, I have it also posted there on the format. So that's just one idea to try to collect more toys. So with that, but okay, so now, okay, great. You donated the toys, you play the games, you had fun. Then what? Well, the thing is that the to win a prize is that you just need to participate. That's easy for me to say. You just need to play.
Yeah, if you've donated a toy.
If you donated a toy, and then the names get sent to Battlefront. Then
includes the guys from Masters.
Well, then yeah, because we all donated toys.
We all donated toys. Right?
Now I'm not eligible because I'm part of it. That'd be kind of weird. I just read Patrick's thing here. It says Anne is very wise in the ways of Flames of War since she was forced to join the Flames of War Facebook group page. Yeah.
Yeah, I was compelled to join the Flames of War Facebook group.
So anyway, with that, so the prizes are this. There are 5 second place prizes, which is basically you get I think 150 point army, your choice. You get to build an army, and they'll ship it to you. So they'll have 5 drawings for that. But the number one prize, which is like represented right here, actually right here, is that your height in boxes. So they'll stack them up just like that. You say what you want. It's basically your height in boxes. If you are short or a child, there is a minimum height of 5'8". So don't feel like, hey, I'm only 4'2", that I'm kind of get ripped here, but there will be a minimum of 5'8". Why 5'8"? I don't know. Just sound like the right size. And then after that, there's 40 random prizes of I think boxes of your choice. Hopefully, I think they want to go through the store through that. But anyway, so that's that. So check that out. All the details are on the Battle Rankings site, on the Flames of War site. So check that out. Donate, have fun. Yeah, play, have fun, feel good about yourself because you made a child happy somewhere. Okay, back to me. Back
to you.
Back to me because it's all about me.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not? Oh, okay. One of the things we did at Masters, before I get into it, and we'll go into all this Masters talk, is that we every year since I've been running the Battle Rankings, the top player wins a trophy for the year. So whoever the top point player for the year, and the season begins October 1st, is September 30th. The top player gets a trophy, and this year was no different. And I actually remember to actually take a picture of it. It went to James Best Jr., and he did a lot. He pushed a lot of Churchills last year. So I made a trophy of a winter camo Churchill, and it's trudging through the mud and snow, and that's what's going on there. So that's, if you're the top point getter, you get a little trophy. Generally, in the last couple of years, I've been making the trophy tops. In the past, I have asked other people to do it. We try to make it really nice. So I thought that I thought that came out pretty cool. And I'm thinking about, if I do have a lot of Churchill sprues, about actually, doing a winter camo Churchill thing. But anyway, I thought it'd be cool. But let's talk about Masters. And there's us kind of social distancing. We actually did take a picture. That was towards the end. We're all wearing our little Master shirts that we got this year, and all being safe and everything. So what I want to do is I want to bring in, Patrick, you're right. You're the Churchill. Let's bring in the TO, which is Brian Coaches. Hold on, make sure I got this. Oh, no, hold on. How can I bring in two? I just want to bring in two. I know it. Oh, I'll bring you in second, Vince. There I go. I am the master of all this. Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Joe. How about yourself?
I don't know. I've been yammering for 20 minutes, so I guess I'm doing pretty good. Anyway.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah. So, Brian, now that I brought you in, before we talk about Masters, it's being Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for?
Well, I'm thankful for, I guess, three things. The first, that everybody was safe, traveling. Safe for, I'm thankful for no blowout Masters. So that was nice. And I'm also thankful for, this glorious hair here that Jake is so jelly of.
Yeah, rub it in. Your flowing locks.
Your flowing locks.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. Start twirling it. Anyway. Okay, well, that's a good thing to be thankful for.
Sure.
Brian, so for those who don't know, I tapped Brian to first of all come up with the format for this year's Masters. Oh, yes, so you're already getting comments. So pretty. Yeah. Little poster, poster there. Anyway, so Brian came up with the format, and then I asked Brian, he said he was free, and he came up and he actually TO'd. So, which was very nice for you because you came from Texas all the way to Kentucky. Well, what'd you say? It was about a 13-hour drive?
It was 14 and a half.
13 and a half. Okay. So you get the idea. Brian, yeah, both ways. Right. So it was a little jaunt for you. But you want to tell them the format?
Sure. Yeah. Recap it real quick. So basically, everybody starts at a first round, and then if you win, you subtract 5 points from your score. If you lose, you add 5 points to your score. So, and as you go through the tournament, your points adjust for every round. So everybody would have 11 lists. And then pairings are done randomly. So you just don't know what you're going to be paired up against, or what point level or what person, for that matter, you're going to be paired up against in the next round. So a lot of randomness to the pairings that benefited some people and made it tough for others. So it was an interesting format. Could use some tweaking on it now that I've seen it in action. Not that people would probably ever want to be a part of something like that again, but it was an interesting experiment. Definitely in tune to what Masters is supposed to be, which is kind of an outside the box tournament for the top players in North America.
I think, okay, for example, first round, 100 points. So I played a 100-point game, and I actually won that one. So the next round, I played at 95, and my opponent, who did not win, he was playing at 105.
That's correct.
And then the next game, I was playing at 90. Then I actually drew an opponent that also was at 90. And then, we tied, so that popped me back up to 95. So it had this, change. I think the lowest I played was my 90 list, and my highest I played was my 100-point list.
Yeah, we had several people kind of that oscillated around the 85, 90 area. including one round, I think we had like 3 or 4 85-point lists. And then for the high end, we did have a couple people reach 125, and the rankings carried them up at the end in the final round. So there was a winner there. But yeah, it was about what I thought would happen. I definitely thought we'd get people to 85. I thought we'd definitely get people to 125. And I thought a lot of things would have to go right for somebody to get down to 80. I really didn't think we'd have somebody in 75. That would just been a very fortuitous round of events, or every round really, to get down there, because you're equal to be down 20 points against your opponent, as well as equal chance to play somebody exactly your point level, that was kind of the gimmick of the tournament. So, but it worked out about the way I thought. I also thought it would take about 30 points to win the tournament. I was way off on that. John ended up getting 42, I believe. And then Vincent, who we have on here tonight, I think came in 39 points. So a fantastic showing by both of those players and the players right under them too, to get that many points in this type of tournament format.
Yeah. Well, speaking of let's bring Vince in, and that's his hint to get ready. Hey, Vincent.
Hey, Joe. What's up?
Hey. So Vincent actually ended up taking second in the tournament. What'd you think? First of all, Vincent, before we get too much farther, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for my fiance, my family, the great community that I get to play games with. It brings normal into this otherwise kind of weird year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So I want to let me I'm just popping this up. Hang on, let me make full screen. Well, I guess that doesn't really help. There is, so we use the Best Coast pairings, and I'm not promoting, well, I guess I am promoting them, but they're not a paid sponsor or anything. I probably should have made them. I said, I'm gonna call you guys out like 100 times. So I want to dime every time I do that. But here's we should stop doing that. Here is where the John Cedarberg, Vincent, this loser, Nathan. I mentioned before that Nathan actually played last year and he was last. He had a really good, strong showing. And then Fretz Jackson
had 2 really tough first rounds, and then boy, did he come on strong in the end.
Yeah, it looked like he ran a speed bump in round 4.
Yeah,
it was me. Jackson, Gilmore, Aaron, Michael. Which, by the way, I know some was kind of chuckled, but the U.S. I think the U.S. had a strong showing there. Junior, Christian, Tom, and then senior John Mayer, who we mentioned, William, and JB Cedarberg. Now, I will say about JB, he did not know until Wednesday that he was playing. Now, he was accompanying his dad. So, I mean, he had something ready because I believe Brian, you and him were planning to just play some side games.
Yeah.
So he had something, and
we were going to just play some games on the side. So he sent me a 100-point list because that's what we were going to play, and then I reached out to his dad. I'm like, well, why don't you just have him send me all 11 lists? We'll kind of do our own little mini masters on the side if we can. And so he sent me the list, and I had him. I think the day after everybody had to submit them, And I went through and verified it, and just like everybody else. And then all of a sudden, we had a couple dropouts, and he was able to he was one of the alternates and was able to take that position. So I don't think he was prepared for. He was thinking one thing, that we're just going to have some fun games on the side, and ended up being in the thick of the battle. So
Yeah. So the question is was Michael the youngest master player? I don't know. It's between JB and Michael. I think Michael's 16. I don't know how old JB is. I would guess in the same range. So I guess you just have to look to see how many months old there are. But we did have 3 father-son combos. So JB and his father John. Is that a song, Father John? Anyway, those 2, best senior and junior. There you go, figure. And the Crons, Michael and Nathan. So that was interesting. 3 father and son combos. But I guess it's of note. I don't know. JB might be the youngest. Unfortunately, I don't know what his age is. But Nathan's up there too. He's a good player. So I mean, he took the U.S. and did something with it. So yeah, he went where angels feared to tread. So, but now Vincent, you and John Cedarberg had something in common with your lists. Did he freeze?
Or he's holding very still.
Oh, he might have frozen. Well, that's interesting. I think we might have lost him.
Nice.
Anyway,
He'll come back.
I'll see. Yeah, he just dropped. Well, we'll see if he comes back. By the way, I was leading him with a question, and that was in the two top lists. Matter of fact, the 3 Germans all had pack fronts.
Yeah.
And pack fronts plus, we'll call it pack front plus, which is they had pack fronts. They also had, what's the big heavy, the AT?
The tank hunter platoon, where you have the 8.8 pack 43s.
Okay. Oh, Vincent said he'd be back in 3 to 5 minutes. Oh, sure. Well, should we wait? Okay. All right. Well, he'll be back.
Right.
So they had the tank hunter platoon with I think a lot of people thought Churchills were coming.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I'm not a strong believer that Churchills are a top list.
Well, now.
Right. So I think it was they're so versatile because you can put them in pack fronts, and they're cheap, especially when you take the card that reduces them by 4 points. So it's just a very bargain unit that you can put on the table. And if you do happen to run into tigers, or I think probably more people were thinking that you would see IS-2, IS-85s, and that's the reason why they were bringing the higher the tank hunter platoon. So it's just a good bang for the buck.
Yeah. By the way, I had crocodiles, and I fricasseed a whole bunch of pack front guns. Basically, they had them kind of up there. Some of them had a little too close. Yeah, first turn, smoke, crawl. It's a smoke lift. Oh,
Yeah.
no, that was satisfying.
Yeah, I think that's why you also saw the British taking a lot of little wasps for that very reason. It's just a little cheap platoon to go around and burn those things out of the ground.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, actually, I lost. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, I was doing pretty good against John, and I was pushing it until one turn. Long distance shots from his. He had some pack fronts way off in the distance. Yeah, nothing like rolling 2-2-1. Yeah.
I'll vaporize it.
Dumb. Anyway, roll a 3 or higher, you're better.
That's why you bring a lucky card.
Well, yeah. Well, that was the maps were interesting, especially when you start throwing out a lot of minefields.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just some of the maps were like blocked, so there was only certain ways you can go, unless you wanted to run over minefields, and wasn't particularly digging that. But but everyone was playing on the same map, so
Yeah, that was one of the I think I would probably rethink about the tournament is to cap it at 4 minefields, because that as soon as you get to the 105, you get the 5th one, and that's a lot of area to be covered by minefields. But then we turn around and look at the points for next year, and they're 105, so it's going to be the same the same situation. I think masters are going to have a leg up. The masters players are going to have a leg up on people simply because they've experienced that, and now they'll know how to account for the minefields. Me personally, I just take vet and roll my 3s and run across and just not mess with them. If that something goes up on the way through, then oh well.
it sucks to be them.
Yeah, exactly. Should have drove more carefully.
Yeah, they should have learned better, and should have paid more attention in minefield running school.
Yeah, so that's one of like I said, there's a number of things I think could have been better with the format. But I think it was interesting. I didn't hear really any complaints about it. Just like, well, it's unfortunate. I've got to play 20 points down, that type of thing. So, Vincent had a particularly rough go, even though he ended up winning most of his games. I mean, that again, and that was kind of the point of this, was to show people's generalship, when playing down like this. So, Vincent, I think, played 2 games down 20 points and another game down 30 points, or his last game down 30 points, and he won all of those. So, and he won a lot of those. I think 2 out of the 3, he won 8-1. So, really, just goes to show how good he is in analyzing the situation and coming up with something that he can be successful with.
Oh, hey, look who's back. Hey, were yours burning? We're talking about you.
I don't know. I had a little bit of a power surge and had to restart my computer. Sorry about that, guys.
No problem.
No
Hey,
problem.
we were just talking about how you were playing down most of your rounds.
I think all of them except for the first one.
Yeah, I think you. I think we were doing some quick math Sunday night, and I think you ended up like 80, a total points down 80 for the tournament.
I know between 2 games, I think I played 50 points down. My last game, and then when I played round 4, it was 20 and 30 points each.
Okay, well, maybe it's 90. Myself, I played 60 down. Oh, Oh, okay, right. Jackson, he said you were 90 points down for the tournament, and I think I was 60. But I think mine were like doable 60s. I was never more than 10 points down at any given point. So, and that I don't think that's bad. 30 points, 20 points, that's a lot. That's a whole giving them a whole tank platoon.
That sounds about right. Maybe 2 or 3.
And I think one of the things that Vincent, you could comment on this more than I can. The list were not necessarily more prone to add vehicles. I think generally you saw more infantry in the list, or additional infantry added into the list. So is that what you saw in your games? Is just like, wow, there's a bunch more infantry, not necessarily a bunch of additional tanks?
Yes and no. It looked like people used the extra points to add in support options that there just isn't room for at lower points. Better artillery, flamethrower half tracks, the British ones, upgraded tanks. Go from Churchills to IS-2s. I think there are a couple lists that did that. Recon sections that you just don't have room for in certain lists. But that's what it seemed like, was they used the extra points to round out lists and shore up the weaknesses, not so much just throwing in an extra.
Okay. Well, I know one of my higher point lists, I added Avery's. I have a couple. I've never played with them, so I'm like, yeah, let's get these bad boys in the table. Because if they were on the table, I really wouldn't be caring.
I did the same thing. I had some Hummels I wanted to throw in case I got up to the points where I knew I wasn't going to win anything.
Yeah. I'm like, this looks fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What was the heaviest thing in your list, Vince? Was it I don't remember you having, you had the Stugs. Anything bigger than that?
No, the Sturmhubitze were the heaviest thing in my list. The 10.5 version Fallschirmjäger artillery Stugs. They were the only thing with armor. Well, armor basically. I had half tracks that were front armor 1 but side armor 1 too. But that's it.
So was your main plan to use the flamethrowers as your main offensive, and then have the tank hunter and the heavy AA platoons overwatching those to keep them safe?
Pretty much. I was going to use the flamethrower half tracks in conjunction with the Sturmhubitze and the armored infantry to push whatever I needed to push. The Stews had the ability to roll forward and use that 2+ brutal gun to take out things like pack nests, and because I've been seeing a lot of trained pack nests, whether it's the SS version or the assault flak version. So I figured that counteracted the +1 to hit, and 2-up brutal guns do a pretty good job on those. That frees up the flame tracks to take out the infantry watching them. And if it works for pack front, then it definitely works for everybody else's anti-tank guns.
Hey, I should have looked. Did you play another pack front?
John Meyer had no, he didn't have pack front. He had 88s, but they weren't pack front.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
I think that's his 100-point list. I think is that correct? Because I think he played his 100-point list like 3 times.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think in his other list he had it pack front, but I think in his 100-point he did not.
Well, it shows the pairing, so it doesn't show the score. So that's interesting. Why is that?
John and my game would have been 8-1, I think.
Yeah.
So I know. Well, I know he lost to Cedarburg, but I think he won against Best. And I'm sure I'm gonna.
Yeah, he did. You guys played No Retreat, and it was his 100-point list.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, he ended up the day pretty strong. He played the guy that came in. Oh, Look, he played the guy that came in first, second, and third.
That's a rough strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jackson was fifth. He was up there too. So yeah, that's luck of the draw, I guess.
First, second, third, and sixth. Woof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a rough schedule.
That's the best schedule, though. You want to play those guys. Those are the most fun games.
Well, it's the one that's the one where you learn something. You know?
I have never played either of the Chris's and not learned at least one thing in the game, and probably 3 or 4.
Yeah. So, were you attacking in the pack front battle or the battle of the 88s?
My 788s against his 6? Yeah, I attacked that mission. I looked at it and I did the math, and any mission where I was down points, unless there was a really huge advantage to defending based on the terrain, I was going to attack. Just running the math, in a fair fight, playing down 20 points, I'd be giving about 20, 22 points, depending on the level of the list. Like take my round 4 opponent. I think I did the math. It was 20 points that I would be giving in as a disadvantage in a fair fight. But if I attacked and they decided to defend, I'm only giving up 13 points. 7 points is a whole infantry platoon. That's
Seedberg ain't here. I'm just wondering what, he had a similar, a similar design, not the same list, but he had the pack front thing going. Did he pick defend a lot more often, or did he do the same thing, attack? It's just kind of be interesting to.
I do not know. Unfortunately, one of the things that I took as a lesson learned is it is interesting to have the stats like this. So I did take the mission, but I did not take who attacked, defended, or what order they played. So one of the things, and if I am able to TO in the future, is to have a little piece of paper where people fill it out and turn it in at the end of the game. That is to be one of the disadvantages about BCP is there's no real, unless it's not working correctly, which we did kind of have some of that with people entering scores over the weekend. There's really no reason to interact with the TO. I think in the future I'll have a way to track that a little bit better without interrupting the gameplay. I know I try to get in to the games as quickly as possible, or around to the tables as quickly as possible to start, so I'm not interrupting people's play and people's mindset. That's a lesson learned. So I don't have the data of attack defend, just what missions they play.
Yeah, because I know he picked defend in my battle, so I'm just curious. Our match. Okay, so I'm just curious because Vince, that sounds pretty. That's a pretty interesting, because most people are not going to think that with the force you had that you were going to pick attack, but you're right about evening up the odds for at least the first couple turns.
Oh yeah. Well, if we both went into reserves, I was given 13 points. If my opponent picked defend, seeing an infantry company and trying to force a fair fight, then they go into reserves, and I have a marginal advantage for the first few turns to try and establish a state on the board, and then hunker down and see if I can weather the storm.
And for people that aren't familiar with what Vincent played, he took a Waffen SS Panzer Grenadier company with some armored grenadiers tied into it, and then aforementioned pack front and tank hunters and the Stugs and flame tanks. You took the best firepower, I believe it was.
The best firepower. It upgrades the flame half tracks and the transport tracks for the armored grenadiers.
Mm.
Yeah. And how much did the that 3+ morale? How much do you feel like that was advantage over being hit on aggressive as opposed to some of the other German lists, which were 4 or 5 morale, but hit on veterans?
I think it comes down to play style. If you're hit as a veteran, you can play it a little bit differently. If you're hit as aggressive, you have to be a lot more careful how you position the units. That way you take the hits you have to, so you can unpin real quick and get back in the fight. You've got to keep your command teams within range to keep those rerolls going for the unpin, because 3-up's great. Rerollable 3-up's a lot better than that. So taking advantage of bulletproof cover, I think I'd rather have fearless aggressive troops than reluctant veterans, because once you start getting hit with reluctant veterans and you start making morale checks, it goes bad real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Fret says the flame tracks and the 88s were perfect combos for dealing with many lists, including his. Yeah, because I think didn't you guys play second round or something like that?
I played Fret's round 2.
Yeah.
I think I attacked and he maneuvered. That sounds about right. We ended up pulling no retreat. Once again, I was down points, so I figured put as much of his stuff off the table as I could, especially with them playing a Russian infantry list, and then just see what I can do.
And that was a pretty good board to do that to on. Also, if I remember correctly, that was board 7, and wasn't a ton of tall terrain on that table. And you were able to, I thought, place your 88s in a very fortuitous location on the back, kind of that back line. I think you had a hill or something like that there to kind of overwatch that into the fields.
The table kind of guaranteed that Chris was going to pick defend because the hills were on one side of the table.
Mm-hmm.
So if I got the hills, there was nothing he could hide anything behind. I would have just put 88s and covered his entire deployment zone. So looking at that, it let me guarantee going after the attack and having that chance to push the objective real hard. I got lucky and bailed the last tank contesting the objective right as his T-34s came on because he was slaughtering my 88s with his mortars. He was making firepowers all over the place.
Yeah, is that the game that you hit the last like Panther with like 9 flamethrower shots or something like that to bail it out?
I think I took 12 or 16 flamethrower shots the last Panther, and he had to make 9 saves. He rolled 1-1.
That's all it takes sometimes.
I sat there thinking about it. I almost shot him at the infantry. And I looked at it, wait, I don't need to shoot the infantry. They're not contesting anything. What am I doing?
It's amazing that to come down. It looked like I just walked by that at the end, and it looked like it was a really, really good game. And you know, I saw Chris do that roll, that 9 save roll for his Panther to end the game, and yeah, just failed 1, and you know that's heartbreaking. But what more can you ask for in the game to be that competitive? And then it's come down to the last roll for the game to win.
That game was amazing. I would play it again any day of the week. It was a ton of fun, and it really was that last roll, because if he had passed that save on the Panther, I'd have to gamble on making an assault without the infantry slaughtering me. And the next turn his T-34s roll up, push me off the objective, and it's 3-6 instead of 8-1.
Well, that's pretty good. It sounds like a really good game. Can't ask for more than that.
Yeah.
Can't ask for
a lot of games like that. That was one thing. I tried to stay away from the tables as much as it only briefly stopped there. I didn't want to add any additional pressure or eyes on the table. So, but the tables I did stop at for a little bit, a lot of them were like that. It was real close, right down to the end. People, scratching and clawing to, overcome that 10 or 20 point deficit. And it sounded like a lot of people had a lot of fun games. So a lot and down to the last moment games.
Definitely.
So he concurs. Really good game. So can't beat that. Who'd you play third round?
Aaron. I played Aaron. I can't pronounce his last name.
You and everyone else.
And I think Aaron is same boat as John. As I think Aaron played just about everybody at the top also.
Oh, right. I think Aaron did play. He played you. He played me. Did he play Cedarburg? Hold on.
I can look.
Hold on. I'll pull it up here. Aaron.
He played Nathan first round. Michael, he played the father son first, second round. Vincent third round. And
he did play John.
He did play John, yeah.
Then he played me.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then the last round, I think he played Chris. Yeah.
Jackson, yeah.
Oh,
It's a tough tournament.
It is. It's like you have to ask yourself, who did I anger?
And he was a good sport about it. He was kind of ribbing me a little bit, between rounds 4 and 5 and about that, and 5 and 6. So, it was a good sport about it. Those are tough tournaments, but those also are some of the more fun tournaments. And Joe, I know you and Aaron, it sounded like you're played on table 1, one of the tables that we recorded, and it looked like your game came right down to the end. We had one of the very few rolls questions that came up happened right there at the end to end the game, and very interesting where you're just rolling counter attack. It's one of those weird situations where you're with your infantry is within 4 but can't reach the opposing team or your opponent's team to counterattack because of an obstruction, in this case a Bell tank. And so you just have to roll back and forth until somebody fails a counterattack. So very interesting, ending to a game. But again, it's one of those games I saw. It's like uber competitive all the way to the very last roll.
Well, that's he brought us. At the end of the game, so we're playing Bridgehead. And I come from the side. I'm attacking the objective from that side. And I'm, I almost tap back his ambush. But anyway, so I'm rolling things back. Basically, his ambush, there was only one place he could put it, which was like kind of out of it. And he ended up taking out a tank destroyer platoon with it. It's because I can't get a bail and I can't save the platoon on a roll. Frustrating. All I had to do was get back in the tank, and I'm like, I'm good. And no. Anyway, my other tank destroyer platoon, the Achilles, long range, 5 shots, 3 hits. His Panthers go away. Eventually, his T-34s come on, and they push for the objective. Now, the thing is, all this time between the now he's tightly packed because he's a Hero Shock, and so I have the template going down. The airplane got in there a couple. What's funny is the airplane came in when there was no vehicles. As soon as vehicles show up, the airplane never shows up again. Like, we're busy. We're drinking tea, my lad. And it's like, okay. Must have been fogged at the airport or something. And they and then of course the Churchills. Now the Crocodiles are rolling up, and I'm starting to flamethrower some stuff. He was kind of rolling back, going, "My God, I don't want to be flamethrowered," but he's being shot up by the infantry that's rolling up also with tanks, with the Churchills. I'm sorry, the Crocs. I'm sitting on the objective. He's sitting on the objective. He's got a couple stands there. And all of a sudden, he rolls up to T-34s. There's 3 of them left. All of a sudden I'm taking, and basically he's bringing right into view of the tank destroyers. And all of a sudden, I knew the tank destroyers were going to hit him and bail him at least, right? So I bring up infantry from the back, move it within 4 inches, knowing where his infantry was, saying, I'm going to come at this angle, and I'm not going to allow him to come in because he can't, if I get lucky, he's not going to be able to come on in the angle that I don't want him to, but I will still force him back. So that was that maneuver I did was on purpose. Sometimes I get lucky. That was not luck. I bailed out the one that I needed to bail, kind of just touch it in the corner that I needed to, get in there. And what's funny is I had 3 guys. He did to get defensive fire. Of course, I did, one killed. He didn't know that, if you kill the front one, that the other ones just move up. And so we had to talk about that. And now that I'm touching and I'm beating on the tank, you can't go on top of his own vehicle. And so he doesn't have 4 inches to go around. So he's just sitting there. And now my one IC is close enough. I do salts on threes. So I'm re-rolling 3s. He's Hero Shock. He's re-rolling 3s. And, so I'm beating the tank and he's making his saves. What he really needed me to do is beat on the tank, have the tank die so that the guy could come up and use it as an obstacle.
Yeah.
But he kept making his saves. I think we went like 4 or 5 rounds like that. Beat on tank saves. He's coming, he comes back. He can't. I come back, beat on tank. He saves it. And we just kept doing that back and forth until he did me a huge favor rolling a 1 and a 2.
Oh yeah, 1 and a 2, yeah.
Yeah, and then
the tank's belled, so the tank can't do anything but save. So
yes,
it's not like it's an active participant in the battle, other than being a blocker for his own guy.
Yeah, it was basically like this. Could you be a chap and just stay right there, boy? Oh boy. Oh, very good. Jolly good.
It's a fault ever for both sides.
Yeah. So. Anyway, so you could see that was round 5, right? Yeah, round 5. So the battle rankings on Facebook or battle rankings on YouTube, round 5, you can watch the whole game with me and Aaron. We were when we were setting up, we were talking to the camera a lot. And at some point, we forgot about the camera and got really into our game. Yeah, so you can hear me and Aaron chit chatting about whatever's right.
I think me and Aaron's game was on camera too. Round 3.
Was the mic on?
I think so. I'm not sure.
In a couple of rounds, I moved it after the initial game ended. I moved it around to try to get some of the other games, the ending of some of the other games. And that worked all the way until round 3, where the battery on the camera died about 2/3 of the way through the game, I think. So that one's unfortunate, but lessons. That was some more of my lessons learned on filming for tournaments like that, what to bring and what to make sure I have, like a long extension cord that was always helpful.
Yeah.
weight, my little light stand weights to make sure that it doesn't fall over. So, but had a lot of fun doing that. A lot of fun seeing, like as I mentioned before, not a lot of questions. Everybody either was able to figure it out themselves, or I maybe had half a dozen like questions. Joe, I think your table had 2 of them. And the biggest one that we had that actually came up several times was how concealment works when you're behind tall terrain. So so imagine a tank sticking 50% out, or let's say 49% out behind some woods, and somebody shooting at it with another tank or gun or something like that. So tall terrain like woods, it does not matter that you're concealed 50% by terrain. There is nothing in the rules that states that 50% concealment gives you actual concealment. The 2 things that are in the rules that accounts for that are hills and buildings. So we had a few questions about that, and so you could draw line of sight to a tank that is 70% covered. As long as you hit the fender, it's considered not concealed unless you're in the terrain itself. So that, like I said, that came up a few times, but everything else we were able to solve pretty quickly, and everybody was real fast about it, which is what I wanted to have happen.
My question on that is, say you were the and then this is those tree lines. This is the thing that gets you in trouble, is tree lines. These heavy things, it's like half of this and half of that. So it's a tree line, and say you can draw a complete line. The cat's in a bag. It's the shopping bag from.
Mine's pawing underneath the door. I see this paw every once in a while, and there's a little burp, and she does a burp, and the paw thing's underneath the door. So,
well, Hard Knocks, when I bought some stuff, and it's the bag. I bought some paints and other stuff. But anyway, so the cat's in the bag. Don't let it out. So the thing is, if you had an air visual, this is the tree line, right? My electric bill is the tree line, and the gun is on this side, and the vehicle is on the other side. I'm not in the terrain, so do I get cover?
If the terrain is less than 2 inches wide, you do not get cover. So if you can see, if the shooting vehicle is within 2 inches of the other side of the edge of the terrain, everything on the other side would not get concealment unless it's actively in concealment.
So if you're behind it,
it's not like version 3 where area, terrain, or trees actively blocked and you only get 6 inches. There's nothing like that in version 4.
right?
The right through.
So if I'm once again in this scenario with the tree, and I got one thing over here and another thing over here, and say they're a foot apart, okay, and this is still going through. This doesn't act as cover.
It does not.
Right. But if the vehicle was in the terrain, it would act as cover.
That's correct.
Yeah. That's where that doesn't make any sense.
Rules get written somewhere, and differences and people leaving out an and or forgetting to include something or intentionally not including it. That one caught me by surprise. Thankfully, it wasn't in my game where it caught me by surprise. Somebody was talking about it after their game, and I went, got the rule book and started studying. That does make sense. I've been playing that. I've been thinking about that wrong. I need to play it completely differently now. Just how you plan for it. And
Vince, I don't know how long you've been playing. I think you came over from 40K pretty recently. And that's caught a lot of the old guard, the version 3 folks, and previously off guard because we've been playing it for so long. That the kind of the old way, and the new version 4 way is a kind of a complete reversal of that. There's a lot more. You have to pay attention a lot more. It's like, okay, well, how thick is that piece of area terrain, and do I take the opportunity to just dump my vehicles in it just to make sure? But then you have to worry about bog checks and stuff like that. So there's a lot more nuances with the terrain and how it affects concealment than it was in the previous rules.
I started right in version 3. So that's what I learned, and that's where I was really paying attention and studying rules. And that's really messing with me because I remember all the things that I first learned in version 3, and they're just different enough to really catch you.
Yep. Yeah, that's it gets me all the time. I've got 5 rule sets in my head, and it's version 2, 3, 4, and then Team Yankee version 1 and 2 on that one. So it's definitely different. If you got to really pay attention.
Oh yeah, and V2 Team Yankee is just different enough from 4th edition to where you remember that one cover rule or that one cross rule or that one ranging in rule from Team Yankee at the wrong moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
mostly after you go into the shooting phase, you're like, oh, well, darn.
I have messed up.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Jackson's he's typing there. So Cedarburg was a total of down 30 points at, with 5 wins. Vince, whoops, that's me asking him to type it. Vince, you were 90 points down, but with 5 wins. And myself, I was negative 44 wins. And then Nathan was negative 70 with 4 wins. I'm just a weenie. And we'll let him caught up. He's typing. It's easier for me to click. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Fred's 30 points, and I think he had 3 wins.
Yeah, I think one of the things I would change with the format is through 5 rounds, do the random pairings like we were doing, and then in the final round do a Swiss pairing for that last round. I think that would have made a lot of sense going into it.
That's what I was really the one thing I was wishing is that last round to play Cedarburg. I want a rematch with him because I played him at LVO and it was an amazing game. I just want to play the guy again. And 2, when you're 1 and 2, you just kind of want that last round face off.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that was, going into that last round after pairings have been made, I was like, I couldn't tuned it a little bit better. But hindsight's always 20/20 on that. And you're right, John is a fantastic person to play against. I played him 3 or 4 times now, and including JB, and both of them are great people to play against. And John and I played John at Team Yankee Masters. I played him at the Masters last year, and then Adepticon, and he's always a very fun person to play against. It's one of those games you don't mess up because he's going to get you.
He doesn't make mistakes. That's the game of whoever makes the first mistake or whoever rolls the last bad roll is the one who doesn't come out on top.
Yep.
I was really lucky when I played him in Vegas. I think it came down to him missing 1 shot to pin an infantry assault off an objective, I think. But it was an amazing game. He didn't make a single mistake. Everything was right on the letter.
Not like Joe makes mistakes all the time. It's like play it half cocked.
Yeah, whatever.
I was really hoping to get to play Joe. Having talked to him in Vegas and at Masters, I wanted a shot at that game. That seemed like it would be fun.
I'm a pushover.
Were you third place? That doesn't seem very pushovery.
Oh, I got lucky.
That's my line, man.
Sometimes things the form. I know this. My 95 and 90 point list was subpar. There's a couple tweaks I could have made that I'm thinking about that I should have made that would have made a big difference in it. So,
well, you played the Desert Rifles or Desert Rat, excuse me. So, what kind of changes would you have made to your 90 and 95 point list?
I would try to keep the plane in there.
Really? But
yeah.
Including that big of a impact on your games when you had it?
No, but it forces players to do stuff. The British plane, it forces you to do things, and without it, people are a little bit more freer. And the thing is, like in Fret's game, if I had it in Fret's game, I could have terrorized his artillery. I could have, terrorized the, his tanks, his T-34s, or even bet the Panthers or something like that. Chipping one way here, chipping another way there. That makes a big difference. And Fretzy's glad I didn't have them. Yeah, if I would have, had them, it would have done different. Now in also in Cedarburg's game, boy, I would have loved to have them. There was some units out there that were just ripe for the picking. That would have been, and then what is he going to do? Is he going to fire his flak guns? Oh no, you can't at once. But yeah, so he can't. He didn't really have any AA. So he had two things. Grills. Two girls, and the recon. The recon was taking pot shots at my infantry. All of a sudden, the planes take them out. That they're not shooting at my infantry. It's little things like that. That go a long way. Just picking at the edges and taking out the little things. And it's right. And so like Fretz is, matter of fact, Fretz all the points he got was from Sturmovix. They went and found my recon and my wasps, and just picked away at them. That's what they do. They'll get you points and just start picking away at things.
Not in my games. My planes never come in.
Well, there's that too.
I played a game with Ed Hall to pass some time on the first round and second day, and I have a little AOP that comes in on 3. I think it hit the board like once in 6 or 7 rounds.
Oh,
That's not good.
No.
That's not good at all.
I mean, it's an AOP, but still, I could have used the swatting. But I rarely take planes. It's just a constant heartache. Some people are just like, they have that one good game with it, and then they swear by planes, and then you're like, well, how did it do in the other 2, 3, 4 games? And like, oh, I didn't really do anything. Okay.
well, sometimes it's the threat.
I'm to the point now where I mostly just ignore them. It's like if you can make a 4+ to come in, I take air superiority also when I'm playing U.S. or British. So if they're going to come in on a 5+, and more power to you, but it's not going to affect my gaming. It's just the way I play and go about it. And I never, knock on wood, I've never had a bad result, just doing it that way. But yeah.
Well, with US, you've got all the AA 50 cals too. That really helps out. That's just built in, so you don't even really need to take the extra unit to counter it. Especially with air superiority, that pretty much guarantees planes are going to have a hard time against you. I don't think I'll take a German plane until the 129B comes back, and if they give it the PaK 40 on it again, then I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, in mid-war, I'll occasionally, depending on the points, I'll occasionally take it because you can have, I think it's like Raider Fire 387 or Raider Fire 389 or something along those lines.
Yeah, the 4+, the little tank hunter gun.
Yeah,
and that's actually a nice plane.
Yeah, on the expensive side, but if you got the points, if you're playing over a 100-point game, it can really make a difference, like you mentioned before, to get the stuff in the back. I'll just never forget my game with Andrew at, I guess, the StoreCon, and it was mid-war, and I was playing. I had the recon company with the Ferdy. I had my Ferdy in the woods or in some short terrain with this lined with. I think it was like 24 recon vehicles, and he came in with his 2 little IL-2s. I shot both of them down with my recon, German recon.
I would not be happy if that happened to me.
It ended up being, I think, a 6-3 after that, but it was just like you can just see Andrew just kind of deflated.
Then again, that's one of those where you can just go,
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm needing boxcars for firepowers, and
oh yeah, throw enough dice at something, it'll work sooner or later.
Yeah. But planes are not my jam. But a lot of people have good luck with them. So yeah,
I can see taking them if you're playing Brits or Russians.
Typhoons are a good buy. You have to admit that they're a real good especially with the rockets.
With the rockets and what they do for their points, I agree with Joe. I'd try and cram them into lists that are 90 points and up almost all the time.
Yeah.
Well, 105 now. Looking at LVO, I don't know.
I got some plans for that. I'm enjoying this book. I think I can figure something out.
Oh, with the SS.
Yeah, especially if I'm not if I get to use the list construction where I can take formations from D-Day as well.
Yes, so it's going to go back to, and the reason why we didn't do the late war journey for Masters is somebody actually brought up a question about that specifically, and I went into forces to kind of do some mock list and see how it would turn out. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to have 208 or 9 or whatever it was list. And if I had to go all over the place to verify, it would take me, I wanted to give myself 5 days. So the list we're doing on a Monday, and I wanted by Friday to have the list out to everybody. And I was really concerned about the amount of time it would take me to verify all those. And so we took the late war journey out of the competition. But going forward, that's in Lessons from the Front. So that is a legitimate part of list construction going forward, at least the nationals.
I think with the mixing and matching, it gives you a lot more flexibility to build something really scary. I like the added difficulty, only being able to use certain sources put onto Masters with the handicap added into it.
Yeah,
I kept looking at D-Day
for my mental state to get that turned around. And fortunately, it went fairly smoothly. There was a couple issues with lists, and we had to fix those. I misread a couple cards, so that changed. I think your list a little bit, and John Mayer's list a little bit. But outside of that, it was really everybody put together some good lists, and it went pretty quick. I think I had the list turned around on Thursday, so
I
yeah,
tried to keep it simple for you.
yeah.
I didn't try to make it too complicated.
Well, and and I think a lot of people did keep it simple. It just worked out better. It came down to, I think, the two issues I had was I had a dual title. I think John had a dual title card in his list, and I forget what it was. It was the best firepower. We didn't take into account the that it's not a platoon level accounting. It is a formation level accounting for vehicles and heavy weapons and gun teams or something along those lines.
The transports weren't called out as tank teams in the SS book. They're called out as tank teams in lessons from the front. So that's where we didn't see tank teams. And then somebody mentioned lessons, and we had to go back and take the transport teams into account as tank teams.
Yeah, and I've had this discussion with Phil before on the rules, especially at the beginning, are very confusing on because it explicitly calls out transport units, but it's not. The units are infantry, guns, tank, and aircraft. There's only 4 units in the game. So, but again, in the beginning of the book, it does say transport units. So, I was thinking for a while that transport units are, another unit, but that is not the case. It was just poorly worded. But
I actually liked how the list worked better with the transport units being tank teams than I did with them not being tank teams. I think it added a little bit to it having veteran half tracks all over the place. So I think that was fortuitous for me.
yeah, it works out. So I bet those flamethrower having those as veteran was really a nice boon to get those guys in closer, especially with the amount of the boards were really nice, and the amount of training on them I thought was not overly done. So yeah. So somebody's getting the Lock of SS book out already, and so being able to utilize the terrain with those veteran flamethrowers, I bet they were all stars in your games.
Every single game, they made their weight. Just every game they were pushing people off objectives. Being hit on 4s for the flame tracks was money. Especially since the SS flame tracks have that little bit better morale than the reluctant D-Day ones do. I mean, the D-Day ones, I think they remount on 5s, then the SS remount on 4s. 4s are better than 5s.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a very good. So did that card also improve their skill, or was it skill?
It improves skill and hit on. So it let me get them away from the command teams. Let's see if I can pull it up and just read the wording real quick. Oh, look, I'm almost exactly on that card. I had to. That card came up a few times.
I think the only the only interesting thing is it's a range of 4 inches versus a 6.
So it's 1 point per 2 teams or part thereof for heavy weapon, gun, and tank units, and it gives them veteran skill with assault 4+ and careful hit on 4+. And you can apply it to armored SS Panzer Grenadier, SS Panzer Grenadier, or SS Reconnaissance Company title. The other keywords are German, build, and formation. for 1 point for every 2 tracks for the flamethrower tracks, or even the Stummel tracks, the short 75s. It's money. That card is going in almost every list I put together for the SS book.
So, and Joe brings up a good point. So, I think the British flamethrowers are 6 inches.
They are.
What have you had a chance to play any list? I think you're more of a German player, right? So, have you had an opportunity to play the 6-inch flamethrowers from any of the British lists, or did you find do you have any issues with that 4-inch range on the flamethrower?
No, you just have to maneuver it right. You have to set up to where, because with Germans making that blitz on 3s when they're vets, and then your tactical move, you've got about an 18-inch threat range with them. So if you look at the board and say, okay, I'm going to try and make my blitz here, and then if I'm doing my second movement order, wherever I'm going the first turn, to put them into a position to threaten things that are within 18 inches of you. And a lot of the defensive missions, people like crowding that 16-inch front line to keep you out of the objective zone, which actually makes it a lot easier on a flamethrower player because you only have to hit one movement order and you're in range with the German flame tracks. And if you don't hit the movement order, you just tactical back behind a building and see what happens next turn.
Yeah, you're just setting up your shot.
That said, I'd rather have 6-inch flamethrowers. If we could make that happen, I'd be okay with it.
Oh yeah,
time and have the Germans still the Croc pressurized flamethrower system.
One thing that got me is Crocs can't hold objectives. Is that it never came up, but is that true?
that is true.
Because the German flamethrowers can actually hold objectives. They just can't assault.
Well, on the Crocs can't, Wasps can.
Neither of them really came up, but Crocs not holding objectives, that makes it hard for them to do what they're supposed to do, which is just knock infantry right off of them. You gotta
that's why you need buddies.
Yeah, friends
Yeah,
work.
like I was saying, in my games, especially I executed well, I guess, with Aaron and John Mira at the end. It was basically, the Crocs, and there's the infantry right with them. Just big mob moving forward. It was glorious.
That's
I
was doing that with my flamethrower tracks and the armored half tracks. That the armored assault in combination with flamethrowers to pin infantry really works well with those veteran tracks. It's a happy place.
Well, 4 shots is pretty good.
Yeah, out of 6 tracks, you throw 24 shots into a unit if you range it right.
Yeah.
Even hitting on 6s, you should get about 6 hits, 4 hits. 4 hits? 4 hits is the right math. I've been
pretty
hitting
brutal.
it a lot.
What on your Crocs? Did you ever have any problems with not having that support go in with them? Were the people dropping artillery to get the infantry pinned, and then the Crocs going? Are you able to keep those grouped together?
Typically, each one. Well, I had it's Group A, Group B, and the one I see in the middle, and I had the bagpipe. So I'm re-rolling on 4s. So, it's a lot better. 2 points. I mean, come on. I mean, it's a lot better than re-rolling 5s.
Yeah.
That's a big shift. So, and that's, I only think there was only a few games. I don't know. Actually, in my game with Fretz, he was beating the snot out of my mortars, right? And he got them down to checking. Yeah, they just all of a sudden they became the One IC's best buddy. Yeah, they stuck around. You know, and I'm, you know, two dice. You know, and instead of needing 5s, I'm needing 4s, and like, hey, look, they stick around. You know,
How about
what's that?
Go
I
ahead.
was saying I know that feeling. John Mayer killed 2 out of my 3 Sturmhabitze turn 1, and the other one was following my 1 IC around the rest of the game. Is just right there next to him the whole time.
How did your I don't want to hear about KVH.
I'm still traumatized from LVO by Best Juniors KV8s. Those caught me really off guard. I had not planned for them.
How did your 8 Achilles work out, Joe?
Oh, it's the reason to take the list. I mean, you know, basically go into Army Builder or you know, Forces of War. Just go and click the, you know, 4 Achilles, then go build the rest of your list. You know, those things are brutal. I mean, you know, they were just taking things out left and right. Long range, short range, big kids, little kids. Anyway, you know, it was like, you know, it's just taking out everything. The amount of, okay, hold on, poor Tom. My second game with Tom. Tom Burgess. He had the T-34 Horde. I was defending in no retreat. And, you know, and it's one of those things, minefields all over the place. And he puts down a smoke screen because he had the smoke screen card where it's just stick around for two turns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't notice. So he throws it down. He moves on up. He's like, you know, all right, you know, because he's going right for my partisans, right? You know, commie on commie action. And he's going right for my partisans. And I'm like, well, these French commies don't have long for the world. That's what I'm thinking, right? And I'm like, oh my God, that smoke screen. Where you know, it's like, where the heck am I going to put my my ambush? And all of a sudden I'm looking and I'm like, oh, I see a place. And I don't think he saw it either. I didn't see it until there was a bridge. And we called the bridge short terrain. And and all of a sudden it's like, you know, hey, you go over there by the bridge. Like, you know, oh, it's a good idea, chap. And all of a sudden there I am. I'm going to put it right there. And there's Tom like, oh, I didn't see that. I'm like, I didn't see it until like 2 minutes ago. And all of a sudden, open up, boys. And then the other one I moved, so they were firing through there, and I think the return rate was like, I think I was taking out 5-1 or something like that, 5-6-1, because I'm in concealing terrain. He's kind of nottish, you know. I'm hit on 4s that goes to 5s. He's probably 3, sometimes 4s. You know, depending on the range, I could bounce it. He can't. Oh yeah, and you know, he had those anti-tank guns, and he's trying to shoot me from long distance, and he needs 6s, right? I think in 4 rounds he only got 2 hits, and it did penetrate, and it bailed. And of course, guess where the one IC is?
Right there.
He's right there.
Right there.
Yeah, you know, we call him Johnny on the spot. And so Johnny on the spot. Get back into that vehicle and fire away. We need to make a good showing of, you know, you can't get the Jerry. Let the Jerrys get the best of us. You know. Yeah. I think he eventually finished one of the Achilles, but then it was too late. I mean, my Crocs moved up, my Piats are on the right. My Piats are now hitting things. Oh, he. By the way, this is how bad it was. He. My pinned partisans. He sends the SMG teams in, right?
Mm-hmm.
6 hits.
Ooh.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're just sitting there in the middle of a street, with their in their hand, and all of a sudden, hey, Parsons doing what Parsons do. They're like, hey, we unpinned, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
that was not a good game. But you asked how the Achilles did. They did that. In Aaron's game, he greased one of my Achilles. The other one's fired right back. And guess what? I got 3 hits, 3 pens, 3 dead. Well, actually 2 dead bailed. And that guy didn't get back in and they ran, T-34s. Oh, and I killed Aaron's T-34s. I ended up killing Fretz's 2 of his Panthers. So I killed 4 Panthers, made 2 others run away. They took out other stuff. It basically, if they popped out in front of them, they were chewing them up. So and the thing is, don't blitz. I mean,
for those of us that don't know British stuff, what are the stats on the Achilles?
Okay, the stats in the Achilles is such. The vehicle is it's the same as a normal tank movement. 10 inches, 14, and I think 18 cross country or something like that. It's decent. It's a 520 for the armor. But the gun is a rate of fire 2-1 on the move. 14, 3+. It's got a 50 cal that can also act as AA. And what else? And it's morale's a 4, its skills a 4. I think it counterattacks on a 5, but you shouldn't be assaulting with those things. Though I did assault some machine guns. John Mayer's machine guns, what was left, I assaulted them on turn 2. But that was a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, I have a 2 side. What's he going to do? And
RPG card. Oh wait, that's Soviets.
Yes, that's Soviets. Yeah. There's that was my things. So how many RPG cards do you have? It's like they're folding them out. Pick a card, any card. They're all RPG cards.
Oh, that's such a good card. That.
Yeah, but that's it's basically have a big gun. And it's 36 inches is the other thing too. So that's pretty good.
AT-14, 36 inches. I've heard enough. Those things are amazing.
Yeah, I took a lot of long range shots and destroyed a lot of long range. And what else? Oh, so that was like my anti-tank threat. My anti-infantry threat, it was the Crocs
and the Wasps.
I only had the Wasp in one list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They only stick around on 5. So like Fretz did. He came by with a plane, killed 2, bailed 1, never got back in. They ran away. I'm like, you useless cowards.
I don't
get back and fight like a man.
I don't like 5s. Anything that unpins on a 5 or stays on a 5 is not something I want.
Though I really do like the Daimlers and the Dingo.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a 7 gun. Too bad it's overloaded, but I have taken side shots on like Shermans and killed them with that.
Yeah, I've done the exact same thing. That's kind of my list with the recon, the 8 Achilles and Crocs. And I was playing a practice game and he was making a good run towards the objective with the Shermans, and the only thing I could do was pop them in the back with this stupid little recon, and sure enough, killed 2 of the 4. As you know, it's just like, well, that changes things.
It's basically, it's like you found the exhaust port.
I was doing that to tank destroyers with my 2-centimeter guns on my 250/9s. As the tank destroyers kept putting their backside over towards the reserves, and okay, let's go 4 shots, AT5. Maybe something will happen.
You gotta take all your shots.
Oh yeah.
Never know the way the dice are going to roll.
The M10s only have their side armor is pretty low, isn't it?
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.
Which makes that AT5 2-centimeter actually look pretty good. And you've got 2-3 shots sitting still.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Patrick's here. He's a just be careful when driving your Daimler through a minefield. The good news is, here's the good news. The good news is they have a skill of 3, the Daimlers. The bad news is the minefield is very deadly. So my game against Aaron, he plugged up the sides in Bridgehead, and so I jumped over, rolled, blew one. One of the Daimlers blew up. Oh well,
Yeah.
but that's the side I needed to go, and that's the side I went and took. So, but it was. I tend to play very vanilla lists. Nothing too exciting, or like having that the one elephant or something like that in there, or some other strange oddity.
I don't know. We had 5 elephants in our doubles list.
Yes. That was you put that together. It was 5 elephants, and Brian was playing the elephants and I was playing the scout cars. I was basically imagine this. Imagine the Serengeti, and there's the rhino, in the middle of the kind of the just sitting there, and all of a sudden you have those little birds sitting on the rhino. Yeah, that was kind of like what the scout cars were to the elephant. It was like all these little scout cars, me, and the elephant's kind of lumbering along. Yeah. Hey, do you know somebody?
Yeah, it's Keith. He's one of our local guys. He actually helped me warm up for Masters. He played 120-point Germans for me.
Yeah.
I figured I didn't need to practice for my 105 through 125 list because I'm already in a bad spot if I'm playing those. So I concentrated on playing the lower points lists against less than optimal conditions, like 120 points of Germans or 115 points of Soviets, and that's really what gave me that. Okay, I really need to attack versus the disadvantage.
That's what we call a sparring partner.
He's a great sparring partner. He's a great guy too. Ton of fun to paint with. He actually painted my flame tracks for me.
Oh, he's the guy. He's the guy, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who got him ready for the table. I think I bought him from him too. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh. Yeah, he's a dealer too.
It's more of those. Hey guys, does anybody have flame tracks? I got this stupid idea. Let's see if it works.
No, it's one of those things. I wouldn't buy 2, but the 6 is a way to go. If you're going to do it, go all in.
I had 6 in every list but 75. I just couldn't find the points for 6 at 75.
Yeah, I think it's the same for the 7.5s. They really kind of work their magic in a platoon of 6.
I found that I lose 4 almost every game, but those last 2 tend to be just past the breaking point when the other guy's ambushes showed up, and it's, okay, you killed most of my unit. Now I'm going to cook those anti-tank guns.
Yeah, I like those 7.5s. Yeah. Matter of fact, I can do. I bought enough to do a recon for the 6, 3, and 3.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to try those out. That seems like a good next step on playing with this book, is checking out the 7.5s and see how they do.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're throwing. That's a lot of 18.9 being thrown around. Yeah, and heat.
And it's 3-up firepower, so it can deal with, dug-in anti-tank guns and stuff like that too.
Yep. Yeah, the point, they're not bad for the points either. So anyway,
there's a lot of stuff in the SS book that's just cheap enough to make it really attractive, especially when you look at things like the best cards where you can upgrade 6 half tracks for 3 points. So you get a Fearless Veteran unit for 12 points, and I'm not sure what it costs in the D-Day book, but I think it's like 14. Might be.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of think the SS book kind of made the DDA book almost obsolete.
When you take into account the late war journey, yeah.
I can see stuff like taking the the defensive breast card and then pairing it with a SS company to get the support elements from the SS and seeing something really interesting come out of there. Because then you get that spearheading beach defense platoon with all the goodies they get for so very cheap. And
well, I'm going to say, just looking at who won, I mean, who did well. Hold on. How did the other German players do? Okay. John Meyer is the only pack front, but he had the beach. I don't know, maybe the beach let him down. Maybe that's not the pack front. But the first player pack front, second player had a pack front, third player no pack front, that because he's an awesome British player now. And fourth player pack front. Greyhound, SS.
Greyhound.
Oh yeah, and Greyhound. Oh yeah, and Desert Rats. How's that fit in there? I don't know.
You made it work, man. It worked really well for you.
Oh, because you keep them out of harm's way. They do good. You chaps go ahead. We'll be right behind you. Literally behind you. Oh, these silly radios, they're just not working. Gonna have to talk to someone about that.
Yeah, pack front's going to be hard to deal with, especially when you add the 10 counter card into it. So going forward, we'll see how how that works out. The way I've been dealing with just a regular pack front is, taking 3 artillery units, basically with my US, with the Scots, mortars, and then the M12, and this, also taking something like Stewarts. So if they're going to separate them out and leave, one out in the open somewhere, then I'm going to smoke it, run up the Stewarts, pin it, and then assault it. Rate of fire 1 when pinned, so I'm getting in. But with that extra, tank hunter platoon backing that up, also, it's really going to be a tough nut to crack going forward at these nationals this year.
That was what I was gambling on, was that extra 388s that I could put into ambush if I was on defense, or sight to back up the pack fronts if I was on offense. And just, you can rush them, but there's a lot of guns behind them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So your overall strategy with the pack front, if you were defending, would you do find the optimal fire arcs and have like 2 on each around each objective? I don't mean on it, but overseeing that objective.
Depending on the board, pretty much. If I had played that board 7 and gotten the edge with the hills, then I would have just stuck them up on the hills because it was open for them.
Okay.
But if you've got enough terrain to where it kind of restricts your line of sight, then basically I'd stick them with infantry on objectives and kind of dare somebody to try and push me off.
And is there anything that you would have changed about your list or list?
I would have probably tried to find the points for recon in my 90-point list. I think my 90-point list was the one without recon. I probably would have taken that list, dropped the Sturmhaubitze because they're just a little too expensive at that point, and use the extra points for some recon and maybe lucky or an extra Panzerfaust somewhere. But
always remember this.
He may not be able to say that.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Recon wins games. It wasn't strictly necessary, but it's always nice to be able to take that extra little step.
I think it's an ongoing gag here, Vince.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah, I blurted out one day. I was talking about recon moves and stuff, and because here's the thing: is I use it to push back I use it to push back ambushes, and also you get those big moves that you can at some of those missions. Also, it's a pain in the ass, and you have to deal with it. Like can I slip it behind the back? But you have to put some type of asset to deal with it. It's just they're always good to have. I mean, recon does tricky ninja moves, and so you have to worry about the tricky ninja moves, and without it, maybe you just can't get yourself in the right position to start. Recon wins you battle ranking tokens. That's right. I did a trivia thing at Team Yankee, and I said, recon. I said, what does recon do? And Patrick goes, wins games. I'm like, all right, you get yourself a free, set of battle ranking tokens that I passed out at Team Yankee Masters. So. You can. By the way, what's this seamless plug? You can catch all my past episodes, including the recon one, on my YouTube channel and on the Facebook channel. Just look for the videos. By the way, we're starting to come up with a ton. We have a ton of material out there. So a lot of stuff, a lot of interesting stuff. And I don't know. I hope people find it interesting. So
I'm enjoying it. I've been enjoying the book reviews, especially. I like seeing what other people think about books and catching. I know what I think about, but every time I watch somebody else go over it, they pick out something that I missed somehow. And it's that does make sense. Maybe I should put that in a list real quick. And
RPG 6 cards.
RPG 6 cards. I didn't bother looking at the Russian book, and then I went up and played my buddy Eric in Albuquerque, and he, they're AT-10 on side armor. Wow, I don't like this anymore. I don't want to assault your infantry.
No, that's a silly card.
Especially for 1 point per platoon. That's and everybody gets to throw them, or is it 2 teams get to throw them?
2.
2 teams.
Two.
2 teams for 1 versus Panzerfaust 1 team for 2.
In some of those lists, you can also get Panzerfaust and the Soviets, so you can have 3 teams that are that are unkillable, that have high AT against the side. So it
which is
all for 2 points.
And
it's not like
doors.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the Russians, depending on whose hands you put it in, they're still hitting on 3s or some of them 2s in assault.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's just, hey, bring that tank over here. I dare you. You know?
I think
So.
no, assaulting Russian infantry. I'd rather just roll up 4 inches away from them and start cooking them,
Yeah.
and let them come out and eat the defensive fire.
Mm. Yeah, we're gonna roast some Russians today. You know? Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's my silly mind, and it's probably getting late. Roasting some Russians. His mother's so fat. Yeah, yeah. When she walks in high heels, she strikes oil.
Oh, yeah. Victory with harsh language. That I might name the list that now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, well, it's a different kind of assault.
Yeah.
So
I like it. I think I'm going to run with that.
He's talking about range matters, and then he follows up that's why God invented the PTRD.
Oh, I hate those things. Oh,
Yeah.
I hate those things.
16 inches or what? AT5, 5+.
5 or 6. It's awful.
I think it's a 5.
Yeah.
And by the way, they would be awesome. It's about and rate of fire 3, 2.
More than that, isn't it?
I think it's 4 now.
Oh, that's right, because it's a large stand. Yeah, it's okay. Right, rate of fire 4.
That large stand.
Yeah, large stand, rate of fire 4. Oh, I think they're great flamethrower track killers.
Oh yeah, that was another thing I ran into in practice games, and my buddy told me you should probably be ready for those. They're going to be unpleasant. Yes.
How many PTRDs did we? Well, we had some engineer sapper groups that could place in some PTRDs, but I don't think we had like company specific of that.
Well, it was while I was working out my list before I got to see what everybody else had, and I was in there looking at, okay, what can really ruin what I'm trying to do, and RPG 6s and PTRDs were really high on that list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Owen, we try to be your complete provider of everything Flames of War and Team Yankee. That's what we strive to do here. Do you know why we're experts? Because we got a microphone. Remember that. We're experts because there's a microphone in front of us.
I'm just a talented amateur.
Okay, what tells you how serious we take each other around here, or how serious I take myself. But I don't know. I have more than my fair share of wins.
I think that counts. As long as you're above 500, you're good.
No, I'm talking about like tournament wins.
That's considerably above 500.
Well, I don't know if I'm not 500 in tournament wins, but
I think Vincent means probably individual games.
Individual games.
If you've got your fair share of tournament wins, you're way above 500 on your individual game record. So that you're doing pretty good.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Way above 500. Yeah. My favorite thing to hear when I get matched up with somebody, hey, what's your name again? Yeah.
What's your name again's better? And oh no, not that guy.
Or I was I think I was telling Brian the worst thing I hate to hear is, hey, do you remember me? And I'm like, oh, I'm going through the memory index of like, oh God, when I play this guy?
Was it a good game? Was it a bad game?
It was probably, they probably learned something and they didn't particularly want to be learning anything that day.
I have had a few of those moments. It does what? No, I don't like that. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, there's a couple things I you know, I would say my talent is finding a way to win. And in this game, there's multiple ways to win. And, all of a sudden they're thinking, hey, I got this one. And all of a sudden, like, oh, crap. And I'm like, oh, hey, oh, there you go. Company broke. Or, hey, there you go. The ejector's blind. Oh, hey, there you go. And they didn't see that one coming, or didn't know about something. What was it? Cauldron. I was playing Japanese it's mid-war, early war, sorry. Early war Japanese version 3 against the Rommel Czech Panzers.
Yeah.
And I was always attack at night. It ended up being Cauldron. He decided the wrong choice was he started off with 2 platoons and Rommel on the board, puts one of them in ambush, sits the tanks on one, and the thing was, there was a tree clump in the middle, and I put the objectives on either side of the trees, so you can't see them, you see each other, and he ends up putting everything on one objective. Well, that's the one where you roll dice or get to pick. My first thing was, I get to pick where my Japanese go. I'm going to put them right on this objective because you could. Yeah, imagine that. 14 stands of angry Japanese with Nikihaku teams at night going, come at me, big boy. Yeah, and guess where the other platoon landed? Right next to the other one. And there's the one IC, 2 IC, because remember, you could deplace them, so they're right there. And yeah, that guy was ticked. He's like, "You can do that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I was trying to tell him, "Hey, I learned this lesson the same way, and it made me a better man." But you know what? At that time, I probably like him. I just did not want to hear it.
I think my favorite moment like that was his V3. I had the German motorcycle reconnaissance troops, and there was an objective way out on the corner and an open deployment zone. My buddy didn't put anything on it, and there's a road that goes straight to the objective, and I kind of looked at it. It looks like 48 inches. Okay, turn 1, dash onto the objective. So I win, right? And he just kind of looks at me like, what? You go how fast? You do what? And he never ever let those reconnaissance troops live again through any game. It was his mission in life to kill that three or four stand motorcycle unit.
It's hard to get a tape.
Well, you know why, right?
You
know why you do that? Because I'm trying to find the post. Because Recon wins games.
Recon wins games.
I don't know if Fretz is on here still, but hey, he's with Armored Rifles fighting a tank, a Tiger company, and the Recon gets behind and takes the objective. Because you just don't have enough stuff in a Tiger company to stop everything.
No, you're playing Tigers. You have maybe 4 or 5 tanks.
Yeah, not much more.
Yeah.
Then 1 unit of infantry. I think he did that to me in Vegas. I was playing that Desperate Measures Conf Group list. And I had been attacking all tournament. And I saw an infantry list and I said attack. And Chris said attack. And I said, what? And then we roll off. He gets to be the attacker in breakthrough. And he comes onto that back objective with an infantry platoon. I just couldn't move him because I didn't have enough stuff.
Yeah. But that's one of those things. I always try to learn something from my games, and even today, I always walk away of trying to learn something from them. I'm like, okay, don't do that again. Don't, this combo will work better. Tweak the list. Keep, it's kind of like a continuous improvement. Plan, do, check, act. If you guys are into, like Deming or anything like that, just continuous improvement. And I just keep doing that to my game, because that way I never find it getting stale.
Oh yeah, that's always look at a game and say, okay, what did I do good? What did I do bad? What was the dumbest thing I did that I probably shouldn't have? Did I get away with it, or did it cost me the game?
Well, Brian, you probably remember it was like Wilcox, with the tank destroyer stuff, and he did the teleporting tank destroyers. Yeah. So he unleashes that that knowledge on the world. I end up playing him, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is how it goes. I took a couple points off, and then I walked away. I'm like, you know what? That's never going to happen to me again. And I'll tell you what, every time I fought a tank destroyer tune, because everyone thought that was the Fizzle, I don't know how many times I've told, I have actually made it so that there was no way for the tank destroyer to get into the game, and they were dead. They just never made the table. Hey, those models? Just keep them over in that frets box. You don't need them.
I actually did that. So I played a guy at Millennium Con, and he had just bought like the Buddy's collection of Flames of War. It was like $4,000 or $5,000 of Flames of War stuff that he purchased, and he played me the second game of the tournament, and I had the Hellcats. This is in version 3, and basically I popped them out and ran behind his German stuff, killed it. The game was over in 3 or 4 turns, something like that. And he's like, "What? I don't get a chance to shoot at him or anything like that." I'm like, "That's just the way the game is." Anyway, fast forward 3 years later, Jake and I are hosting Great War kind of an expedition game, and he's standing there and he's talking to one of his buddies about, "Yeah, I was here 3 years ago, and some guy popped some," and I'm like one of the organizers.
Oh, whoop!
Like,
I brought in.
playing off, some guy popped Hellcats behind me and shot all my stuff up. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't know who that was.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be wrapping this up. So first of all, John Segerberg won it all. There's the plaque. There's John. You could tell he was very hard containing himself.
I will tell you this: when he beat Keith, or when he wrapped it up, I've never seen this before. He actually, with anybody, he actually leaped in the air with his fist in the air, and like his heels clicked together, and he goes, "Yeah!"
Wow, that's a lot of emotion.
Yeah, especially for John. Yeah, I was caught off guard by that. That was a funny thing to witness.
Well, okay.
I might have jumped in the air too. I think you might have seen me do the flying heel kick on that one.
Yeah, I don't do vertical. I do the kind of like the who hit that home run?
Frank Thomas?
No, World Series went to your high school.
Oh,
Kirk Gibson.
Kirk Gibson doing the Kirk Gibson thing, on 2 bad knees.
Flying was an overstatement. I might, briefly lift an inch or so. That.
So to kind of wrap up here, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do next week. I'll come up with something. Post turkey, tryptophan thing, but I'm the week after that, the Toys for Tots wrap up. I am Battlefront is actually going to do the drawing live on this very show.
Very cool.
It's-
I'll
Yep.
definitely be watching that.
Well, because I told them, you have nothing, I have it all. Let's do it on my show. And they said, oh, that's a great idea. Because last year they just videotaped it and sent me the videotape. I'm like, oh, come on, guys, let's just do it live.
Mm.
And then I'll see what emissary they send to do it, because I'm going to interview him first. So what do you do there? Hopefully it's John, and then John and I can have a nice discussion about things, and then have the drawing live. So you got that look forward to. So I'll probably do it on Wednesday, on the week of the 7th. But anyway, any what did we learn for those who were on all this time? Brian, did you learn anything?
I learned that flame half tracks with the firepower card is a pretty decent way to go.
Yeah.
I
Vince?
learned that if I'm playing British, I want to take Achilles. Just all
Very
the
good.
Achilles.
This should be interesting. Anne, did you learn anything?
I learned that Panzer Ghost like Celine Dion.
You learned Panzer Ghost like Celine Dion. And hold on, is Panzer Ghost still around?
Why?
Well,
what do you want to ask me?
did you learn anything?
No.
No. The ghost knows everything.
I have no good lines right now.
Oh, okay. I didn't prep you.
I didn't prep me.
Yes, I probably should have warned you. But but we always do. What did we learn?
Okay.
Okay. Did Ray learn anything?
Ray, did you learn anything?
No.
No.
Okay.
Oh, nice crackly voice. How about you guys there? Patrick learned that tree lines suck. Yes, they do. Matter of fact, they're one of maybe I'll do that next week. Do terrain pieces on tables that cause arguments.
I got a few that I could comment on for that.
Yeah.
I can think of a few terrain pieces that are just
I learned that bridges can be short terrain.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, there you go. Learning that bridges can be short terrain.
railroads. People play railroads differently all the time too.
Yep. Anything else for the guy? I know there's a delay. So waiting for those guys to catch up.
So the thing while they're catching up, Vince, the railroad tracks that come in the Battlefront packaging, those are actually the flat, non-bulletproof version of it. So there's no vent mix, and that's actually something that Phil has said that the intent was that there's no sides to it. It's just a flat thing.
Oh,
So
well,
then I'm
that's
going to
interesting.
say, Brian said every time somebody asks me how we play the railroad tracks from now on. Then
So yeah, Phil told Brian. So I know a guy that
Who
Phil
knows a guy?
told, yeah, that this was flat, even though it's not flat because the manufacturing process had to make it a little bit thicker, but it's really flat.
I usually just look at the other guy and say, "You tell me how we're playing the table. We'll just play it that way and have a fun time."
Well, what in version 3, if you brought a train, it was just like this. You basically laid down a whole terrain feature right across the table.
I always wanted one, could never find one. I still want
Yeah.
one of those.
Oh, and that being flat now, it's canon.
Ah,
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. I heard that on a podcast with the guy with the mic, so it has to be true. So there you go. All right. What's here? Where are the rivers played as streams in a tournament, as usually the case? I'll tell you what. If there's a river down there where you get the 2-inch thick river, I always play it as slow terrain, no bog check. It's just a piece of terrain that slows you down. There was nothing worse than saying, "Oh, it's impassable." I hate when someone starts from there. I'm like, "Oh, well, I know what defense statue you're going to pick," you know. Yeah. And I've had that, that's just not fun. I mean, it's impassable, and there's one place to cross. Oh, and there's like 5 minefields on top of it.
Yeah,
really.
Rivers are fun for thematic games, but for tournament games, they're kind of somebody's going to be unhappy.
Yeah, it's the problem with the rivers is they look really good, and you want to put them all the way across the table. Not necessarily think about places to ford across or additional stuff like that. So unless it has free passes, I'll do bog checks. Otherwise, if it's just got 1 or 2 passes, it's just slow terrain.
Well, I think I'll do that next week. Terrain pieces that cause arguments. So, all right. I think we'll do that. And Ann, you want to play us out?
Bye, guys.
Yep. Susan. You gotta love the. It's like you're going to battle. It's like you got that, that drum in there, and nothing like. Are those fifers? What are those?
Pipes.
Pipes, yeah.
Pipe and drums.
Pipes and drums. Yeah. And marching there. Their muskets. Kissing their women goodbye because they have to go off to war. Drive the invaders back. So I don't want to pay any taxes. Oh yeah. Ragtag Barmy. Yep. I don't know how you would step to that, but just listen to the drum. He is kind of going off on that, isn't he, man?
Yeah.
He's like the next John Bonham. A little piccolo solo. Yeah. Oh, hey, now the guys, hey, this is a real man's instrument. Comes right in after that. Like, hey, you know why it's so low? Yeah, because they dropped. He's like, oh, I can keep up with you. Nah. All right.
That's the U.S. Army Fife and Drum Corps, right?
Yeah. It's the Army. Okay, everybody. Everyone have a great night, and we'll catch you next week.
Have a good thing.